Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is Abhineet Shukla and with me is Renuka, bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. India calls for de-escalation of tensions and maintenance of peace and stability in Taiwan region, also expresses dissatisfaction over China's technical hold in the UN Security Council to designate Abdul Rauf Asghar as a global terrorist. India and Malaysia conduct first bilateral Air Force exercise. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to host medal winners of Commonwealth Games at his official residence in Delhi tomorrow. India ranks third in startup ecosystem and in terms of number of unicorns in the world, says Science and Technology Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh. Today is World Elephant Day. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls for commitment to protect elephants. India has expressed concern over the development in Taiwan and urged for de-escalation of tensions by taking efforts to maintain peace and stability in the region. Briefing the media in New Delhi today, spokesperson of External Affairs Ministry Arindam Bagchi said, like many other countries, India is also concerned about the development in Taiwan.
Like many other countries, India too is concerned at recent developments. We urge the exercise of restraint, avoidance of unilateral actions to change the status quo, de-escalation of tensions, and efforts to maintain peace and stability in the region. India's relevant policies are well known and consistent. They do not require reiteration.
India also expressed dissatisfaction over the technical hold by China in the United Nations Security Council to designate Abdul Rauf Asghar, brother of Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar and deputy chief of the Pakistan-based proscribed terror group, as a global terrorist. Reacting on this, Mr. Bagchi said, "It is unfortunate that the international community is unable to speak in one common voice on collective battle against terrorism."
There should be no double standards in dealing with terrorists. The practice of placing holds and blocks without giving any justification must end. It is most regrettable that genuine and evidence-based listing proposals pertaining to some of the most notorious terrorists in the world are being placed on hold. Double standards and continuing politicization have rendered the credibility of the Sanctions Committee regime at an all-time low.
A contingent of Indian Air Force has arrived in Malaysia to participate in a bilateral air exercise with their Malaysian counterparts. This is the first bilateral exercise being conducted between Indian Air Force and Royal Malaysian Air Force RMAF. The Indian Air Force is participating in the air exercise with Su-30 MKI and C-17 aircraft, while the RMAF will be flying Su-30 MKM aircraft. The Indian contingent departed from one of its air bases directly for their destination, the RMAF base of Kuantan. The exercise will give an opportunity to IAF contingent members to share and learn best practices with some of the best professionals from RMAF, while also discussing mutual combat compatibilities. The 4 days of exercise will witness conduct of various aerial combat drills between the two air forces.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi to host all the medal winners of the Commonwealth Games 2022 at his official residence in Delhi at 11 a.m. on Saturday. In the recently concluded Commonwealth Games 2022, Indian athletes have won 61 medals, including 22 gold, 16 silver and 23 bronze. Nearly 200 Indian athletes competed for medals across 16 different sports at the Commonwealth Games held in Birmingham from 28th of last month to 8th of this month. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has greeted the people on the World Sanskrit Day. In a tweet, Mr. Modi acknowledged the efforts of those working for popularizing Sanskrit. He shared 2 instances from Mann Ki Baat where he elaborated on the importance and beauty of Sanskrit. He also appreciated the growing popularity of Sanskrit amongst the youth.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has shared instances of countrymen's enthusiasm for Har Ghar Tiranga Abhiyan from across the country. In a series of tweets on Friday, Mr. Modi said that every Indian is happy to see the tricolour waving in the water, land and sky of the country. The Prime Minister thanked countrymen for their spirit towards tricolour. He said, "This bold scene of incomparable respect for the tricolour shows the enthusiasm and zeal of the Indians." Mr. Modi stressed that such tricolour yatras filled with future leaders of India are going to fill everyone with the spirit of patriotism. Science and Technology Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh has said that India now ranks third in startup ecosystem and in terms of number of unicorns in the world. He said there are currently 105 unicorns, out of which 44 were born in 2021 and 19 in 2022. Delivering the keynote address at DST Startup Utsav at Dr. Ambedkar International Centre in New Delhi, Dr. Singh said this decade is expected to bring transformational changes in Indian science, technology and innovation. He said India, in its 75th year of independence, is now home to 75,000 startups. Dr. Singh said Prime Minister Narendra Modi's special focus on science, technology and innovation has fired the imagination of the youth to innovate and solve problems with new ideas. He said the country's startups today are not limited to only metros or big cities, as 49% of the startups are from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. In today's Hotspots section, AIR News Special, India, a soft power hub of cinema and yoga.
India's strength is a cultural-driven soft power. India has been known around the world for its calm attitude. It held patience in its toughest time to get independence. One such cultural asset is yoga and the power of mantra practiced by the father of our nation, M.K. Gandhi. This has become a trend in today's world and has recently gained power. When it comes to defining India's more modern soft power, Bollywood is often cited. The glittering flamboyant films churned out by Mumbai's Gargantuan film industry have been long popular in certain regions of the world, such as the Middle East, Central Asia, Southeast Asia, North Africa, South Africa, and throughout South Asia and the United States. Today, we take a peep into both the soft powers of our nation. Whilst the term soft power is relatively new, the concept itself is not. Soft power has been globally recognized as a desired tool for expanding power and is a vital part of every nation's foreign policy. Let's listen to what our Minister of External Affairs, S. Jaishankar, has to say regarding India's soft power.
For me, this anthology, in many ways, is a very, very notable contribution about understanding India, about appreciating India, and in many ways, about valuing India. Beyond economics, beyond politics, beyond orthodox, conventional parameters of strength and influence, that is really where soft power comes into play. And we have seen in history that there can be very powerful countries, but who have actually failed in the soft power front and therefore met political reverses. It is not something which is that far back in history. So I see today culture, that connecting through culture, the comfort that is growing about India, I see that actually as very, very central to the rebalancing and something which works very much to India's advantage.
Since Jawaharlal Nehru's time, India has used its culture, including films and music, to spread its global influence. In the new millennium, various governments and leaders, including Prime Minister Narendra Modi, is perhaps the most recent leader who often talks about India's soft power.
वैश्विक संबंध में धीरे धीरे सॉफ्ट पावर मुख्य धारा बन गया है और सॉफ्ट पावर के द्वारा ही वैश्विक संबंधों को ऊर्जा मिलती है, ताकत मिलती है। भारत ने भी अपने वैश्विक संबंधों को बनाने के डिप्लोमेटिक जो कुछ भी चैनल्स है उसके सिवाय जो हमें विरासत में मिली हुई शक्ति है उसका भी भरपूर उपयोग करना चाहिए और ये संबंध बहुत लंबे अरसे तक परिणामकारी होते हैं।
Indian cinema has come a long way since its birth over a century ago. It has forayed into new avenues and innovated both in form as well as content. The production of cinema in various languages and dialects has taken this art form into new areas geographically as well as socially. The changing social mores and aspirations also found its voice in this medium. Karan Johar at Davos Economic Forum held few years back spoke about India's soft power.
I think communication is that India is open to business and open to business to the world in various sectors and in various ways. And I think Prime Minister Narendra Modi has always, whether it's been, kind of enhancing the digital revolution that is inborn within the fabric of our country, and also about basically opening doors for business and therefore furthering the economic prospects of our country. I think I'm hoping that that's the communication that is made loud and clear to the world, because we have been through an unprecedented growth in terms of our economy. And I'm really excited about Prime Minister Modi's diktat to the world through the World Economic Forum.
We witnessed the triumph of the spirit of liberation and empowerment of women-centric themes on the silver screen and the success of movies. We have our Honourable Minister Shri Anurag Thakur talking about the sensitivity of Indian cinema and 75 years of Cannes Festival and Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav at Cannes.
As you're aware, India and France are making the 75th year of diplomatic relations. This is the 75th year of independence for India, and we are celebrating the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. This is the 75th year of Cannes Film Festival and 75th year of India and France diplomatic ties. A very special year, as India is the country of honor at Marche du Film. It is a great honor for me to be here amongst the stars of the Indian cinema. The Indian film industry over the past 110 years has epitomized India's civilization, culture of storytelling, from wall paintings to texts, from television to theatres, and from reels to virtual reality. We can very proudly say that हमारे पास सिर्फ film industry नहीं, हमारे पास cinema है.
His Excellency Javed Ashraf spoke on the soft power of Indian cinema, and its contribution to the world is noteworthy.
When we celebrate 75 years of India's independence, I think nothing captures our journey better than our cinema in every aspect of the way. It's about what you do to change the way the world looks at us. But everything else, the world is undergoing digital disruption in every respect. And for us to lead the world as we are leading the world in public digital infrastructure, which is a widely known fact, I think we can be clearly a global leader in this field.
After getting the feel of the present scenario, here is a flashback of a soft power now and then. The term soft power was coined by neoliberal academician Joseph Nye of Harvard University to describe the ability to attract and co-opt rather than coerce, use force or give money as a means of persuasion. Today, we use words like soft power and smart power as analogous with the power of culture. As a result, India over the last 75 years attempted to begin to make better use of its soft power assets. 75 years ago, Indian cinema was extremely popular across Africa, Middle East, Eastern Europe and Southeast Asia. In 1947, the film Dard was a hit on the in 1957, Mother India became an Raj Kapoor was mobbed on the streets of Moscow and Beijing for this film Shri Char. Dilip Kumar, Devanand and Nargis also had millions of fans in various countries. In the 1970s and the 1980s, Bollywood superstar Amitabh Bachchan demonstrated the same cross-border appeal. Today there are exceptional examples, think Amir Khan in China or Shah Rukh Khan in Germany. But the Indian film audience is still by and large restricted to South Asian diaspora only. It is today the world's largest film industry, surpassing Hollywood with an annual output of over 1,000 movies. The late producer and director Yash Chopra said that the industry has a moral responsibility to depict India at its best. We are the historians of India. The Indian diaspora must maintain its identity and its roots. India's soft power is manifested in its millennia-old traditions and wisdom that holds relevance till today. Another one of India's most successful and long-lasting soft power is yoga, now practiced around the world as a form of exercise with its distinctive use has become popular worldwide. Yoga's India's gift reminds the world of the need for exercise and healthy lifestyles. While India may still have miles to go in its quest to be a global political power, the world is already embracing it as a cultural superpower. One cannot forget the Commonwealth Games as it showcased the ancient culture of yoga. India is fortunate enough to be endowed with a rich soft power. The foundation of India's soft power is its pluralism, tolerance, secularism, and unparalleled cultural heritage. It is well displayed by India everywhere. In 2014, the United Nations General Assembly declared the 21st of June to be observed every year as International Yoga Day. This was initiated by India and is seen as a projection of India's soft power.
Specifically, that yoga is an invaluable contribution of our country, of our tradition. Yoga, our heart, our body, our ideology, our actions, everything is a part of our country. And in order to, it's...
While the idea of soft power is only a few decades old, many countries globally acclaim their cultural assets and values that date back centuries and remain sought after till today. One such country is India, whose soft power is underpinned by its civilization, heritage and cultural prowess. Unlike many other nations that have homogenized or rather westernized their culture, India's diverse yet coherent cultural fabric spreads across the length and breadth of the country. Furthermore, the rise of India's global stature in recent decades at various multilateral forums, the increasing popularity of yoga, and the world community embracing Namaste as a greeting during the ongoing pandemic are some of the most evident examples of Indian soft power. Yoga is popular in countries as varied as Spain, the US, Portugal, Indonesia, Morocco, the UK, Costa Rica, Italy and so on. The government is trying to harness the popularity of yoga and its benefits to project India's contribution to the world in the field of health and well-being and also spirituality. India's soft power was on display even at World Economic Forum Davos.
Yoga is all set to debut at the World Economic Forum in Davos, all thanks to India. 2 yoga teachers from New Delhi will teach asanas and pranayams to 70 heads of state and government, including US President Donald Trump, as well as celebrities, chief executives and top bankers at the World Economic Forum in Davos. The duo, Bharadwaj and Vyas, who are disciples of Yoga Guru Ramdev, will hold 6 sessions over 3 days. The aim is to help participants find a balance between mental, spiritual and physical well-being.
Yoga offers the opportunity to revitalize India as a Vishwa Guru, a guru of the world. Be that as it may, there is no denying that the ancient discipline of yoga, practiced by seers and sages for millennia across India, has worked as a double-edged sword for Modi, as yoga is increasingly being perceived as an important tool of Indian soft power, and as New Delhi continues to project it as a magnificently successful campaign to spread ancient Indian wisdom. These groups may yet have a point which can form bonds based on commonalities in culture and spiritualism, or simply gain appreciation for India, is thus vital in the promotion of soft power. The power of the diaspora to connect with people of different cultures and with different value systems is one of India's most important targets. Our cinema has also had a great impact on our social values. Cinema is also a component of a soft power internationally. Now spread over a fruitful period of 100 years, the saga of Indian cinema has been that of a spirit of entrepreneurship, experimentation and innovation with new themes in form, content and technology. These have been employed by creative movie makers in India. The times to come would witness disruption of the familiar paradigm due to rapid strides in technology and its increasing presence in the space of our daily lives.
This is All India Radio giving you the world news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
India has expressed concern over the reports of shelling near the fuel storage facility of Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine as the Russian military operations enter nearly 6 months. Addressing a UNSC briefing, India's permanent representative to the United Nations, Ruchira Kamboj, said, "We call for mutual restraint so as not to endanger the safety and security of nuclear facilities." This statement comes after Ukraine accused Russia of shelling the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant again yesterday. Ms. Kamboj said that they are following the developments regarding the safety and security of Ukraine's nuclear power reactors and facilities. The British government said on Friday that parts of southern, central and eastern England had officially moved into drought status after a prolonged period of hot and dry weather. England suffered its driest July since 1935, with only 35% of the average rainfall for the month, and parts of England and Wales are now in the middle of a 4-day extreme heat alert. All water companies have reassured us that essential supplies are still safe, Water Minister Steve Double said in a statement. The companies are better prepared than ever before for periods of dry weather, but will continue to closely monitor the situation, including impacts on farmers and the environment, and take further action as needed.
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, a joint Naka party of police and CRPF was fired upon by terrorists in Bijbehara area of South Kashmir's Anantnag district. One police personnel was injured following the attack. Security forces have cordoned off the area and have launched a massive manhunt to nab the attackers involved in the crime. Earlier, a 19-year-old non-local labourer was shot dead by terrorists in the intervening night at about 12:15 a.m. at Sadunara village of Hajin area in North Kashmir's Bandipora district. The deceased was hailing from Besar village of Bihar and was presently putting up at a rented accommodation in Sadunara village of Bandipora district. Bangladesh Ministry of Finance has allayed fears on account of its external debt by pointing out that its external debt to GDP ratio stood at 11.87% compared to the IMF mandated threshold of 40%. The domestic debt to GDP ratio of Bangladesh stands at 19.55%, taking the total debt to GDP ratio to 31.42% on 31st of March 2022. The latest quarterly debt bulletin issued by the Bangladesh Ministry of Finance on Thursday reveals that its total external debt went up from 4.20 lakh crore taka at the end of the last financial year on 30th June 2021 to 4.71 lakh crore taka as on 31st March 2022.
More shelling has been reported on Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant yesterday. However, Ukraine and Russia blaming each other for the attack on nuclear plant. In USA, the people who signed up for unemployment benefits rose last week to the highest level since November last year. The Labour Department reported yesterday applications for jobless aid climbed by 14,000 to 262,000 and now have risen 5 out of the last 6 weeks. The 4-week average for claims, which smooths out weekly ups and downs, rose by 4,500 to 252,000, also the highest since November. However, local media reports so far this year, hiring in the United States has been remarkably strong and resilient in the face of rising interest rates and weak economic growth. The United States recovered with unexpected strength from 2020's COVID-19 recession.
South Korea said yesterday that the issue of deployment of the U.S. Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System, THAAD missile defense system in the country is not subject to negotiations. In a pushback to China after Beijing demanded Seoul not deploy additional batteries and limit the use of the existing ones and claimed that previous Moon Jae-in administration agreed for it. The office of the South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol also said that they will normalize operations of the missile defense base by end of August, adding that THAAD is a self-defense tool aimed at protecting people's lives and safety. Today's World Elephant Day. The day was launched to bring attention to the urgent plight of Asian and African elephants. The elephant is loved, revered and respected by people and cultures around the world, yet we balance on the brink of seeing the last of this magnificent creature. The escalation of poaching, habitat loss, human-elephant conflict and mistreatment in captivity are just some of the threats to both African and Asian elephants. To mark the occasion, Prime Minister Narendra Modi called for commitment to protect elephants. He tweeted that on World Elephant Day, reiterate the commitment to protect the elephant. One would be happy to know that India houses about 60% of all Asian elephants. The number of elephant reserves has risen in the last 8 years. And now a report from the business desk.
Sensex rose by 130 points to finish at 59,463. Nifty also appreciated by 39 points to settle at 17,698. At the global stock markets, world stocks headed for a fourth straight week of gains. Japan's Nikkei 225 surged by 2.6% and Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index gained 0.5%. South Korea's Kospi and China's Shanghai Composite Index both rose by 0.2%, while Singapore's Straits Times ended 1% down. European shares were up in intraday trade. Global crude oil prices declined around 1.5%. Oil prices fell as recession fears clouded the demand outlook, yet remained on track for a weekly rise. Brent crude was trading at $98.40 per barrel. And in the foreign exchange market, the rupee weakened by 2 paise against the US dollar. The domestic currency closed at 79 rupees and 65 paise against the American unit. Arjun Chaudhary for World News, All India Radio.
Now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. The Guardian says Kenya Election Commission says vote count moving too slowly. The Washington Post reports world ignored monkeypox threats, including signs of sexual transmission. The Globe and Mail writes U.S. Attorney General confirms search of Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence, asks court to unseal warrant. The South China Morning Post Taiwan and U.S. renew Patriot 3 missile service contract. The Financial Times reports Spain says gas link to wider EU could be ready within months. The Japan Times reports outspoken digital chief Taro Kono set to renew fight against old tech in Japan. And the Al Jazeera writes UN says humanitarian agencies face biggest funding gap ever.
And now, a quick look at the headlines once again. India calls for de-escalation of tensions and maintenance of peace and stability in Taiwan region. Also expresses dissatisfaction over China's technical hold in the UN Security Council UNSC to designate Abdul Rauf Asghar as a global terrorist. India and Malaysia conduct first bilateral Air Force exercise. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to host medal winners of Commonwealth Games 2022 at his official residence in Delhi tomorrow. India ranks third in startup ecosystem and in terms of number of unicorns in the world, says Science and Technology Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh. And today is World Elephant Day. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls for commitment to protect elephants. And now, before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnav Jan, by artists from Egypt. And with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time with the next edition of World News.